Hello, my name is DNAB. Welcome to my critique on the modern Zelda and my review on Tears of the Kingdom. Unsurprisingly, as you would expect, this is really good. Please hit that like, comment, and subscribe because it's free and you can always unsub later. Let's get to it. Tears of the Kingdom is something we needed in this landscape of AAA blockbuster games. Microtransaction, DLC, season pass, loot box, battle pass, and time savers. Playing this game fills you with a sense of wonder, a joy of exploration, and more importantly, of experimentation. Tears of the Kingdom is a game that believes in show, don't tell. It shows you a bunch of pieces on the ground and expects you to just make whatever it takes to get across the river. That goes for almost everything in this game. If you don't know where you're going, open up the map and set your own wave markers. Oh, by the way, at random times in the video, I will just cut and just show you cool, amazing monstrosities that the community has created, because I'm sure we cannot get enough of this. My personal favorite is the Treasure Planet. Damn, I love this movie. Though, to be fair, the hoverbike is still the best way to get around. For me, I was trying to tweak the design, but I suck at it, so it is what it is. Nintendo could have easily just sat there and gave us Breath of the Kingdom 2, but they didn't. They made sure that everything that this game has, everything that Tears of the Kingdom is bigger, better, and more expansive. Let's talk the greatest and coolest Assassin's Creed ever made, Black Flag. If we were ever to get Black Flag 2, totally never gonna happen, Ubisoft would just double the size of the ocean and add more islands. But Nintendo rather use the skies of their games. We've seen this with Mario, where they fill the sky up with a lot of things you can do. And more importantly, we see it here in Tears of the Kingdom, where there's so many sky islands that there's so much things you can do and play with. This is genius, because Nintendo understands that if you look up in the skies, that's free real estate you can use. You see that, Sonic Frontiers? You see that? This is how you do it. This is how you put random stuff in the sky to make it look good. The Sky Islands is genius. A genius move by Nintendo. Because this is the same Hyrule map we got in Breath of the Wild. So, what they did was they didn't make the map bigger, they made the map more compact and expansive, while adding the Sky's Islands. And then, you go through the underground. That's amazing. I haven't even gotten through half of this. This thing is huge. The underground is massive. Talk about bang for your buck. Nintendo has you covered. Tears of the Kingdom is easily the best thing the Switch has to offer. If you have a Switch and you don't own Tears of the Kingdom, fix it ASAP. It will never go on sale because that's how good this game is, but fix it. The scale of this game is breathtaking, and the amount of hours you can easily sink into this could be a job. And for some streamers, this is their job for the next year, maybe. But this is going to be different from my other reviews. I'm going to explain why this game is so good, and why that affected the reception of Tears of the Kingdom and to an extent Breath of the Wild. Many factors went into putting this game on the top, and we're going to discuss that today. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is a good game. It's a great game, fantastic game. We all know this. Nintendo doesn't mess around when it comes to their flagship IPs. We know this through their history of Mario, Zelda, and even Metroid when they want to pump one of those games out. Now, I hope many other AAA companies take Nintendo's approach when it comes to their games, but you know.
Sorry. We're sorry. Sorry.
Tears of the Kingdom, much like Breath of the Wild, is an easy 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. And I can see that this can easily be Game of the Year. I don't see why not. I hope there will be Resident Evil 4 Remake because it really deserves it, but I understand if Tears of the Kingdom takes it. As we all know, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom isn't your grandfather's Zelda. They're open world physics-based sandbox. There is no longer an expected set path for the players to take. No longer a greater narrative being told. Given the game, you could speedrun this in 2 hours. Wait, what, less than that? Less than an hour? Damn, it just came out. Yo, speedrunners are a different breed. The things that make Zelda great is that it just lets you play the game. I opened this video with the statement saying that, there's no trend, no loot box, no battle pass, no transaction. Though they call it microtransaction, but I fail to see how this is micro. Nintendo, for the most part, says no to all of those trends and just lets Zelda be a break from all of that. It's a complete product that just lets you enjoy it from start to finish. Even if you put it down, this game allows you to just pick it up and continue your journey through this world. I'm sorry, this is just so cool. Like, damn. Okay, back to the video. To talk about the modern Zelda, we must first talk about Mario Odyssey. In fact, Mario as a whole, at least the 3D Mario. Mario games have always had that fundamental movement that you've seen from the 64 expanded throughout the years to Sunshine, Galaxy, and 3D World. Every step, every game improved the way Mario moved, even if it's by a little, or at least changed the way you will move through the space. Mario 64 introduced the base Mario experience, focused on platforming and, stage gimmicks. For example, fire and ice. Mario Sunshine added the flood, which did a lot to aid in Mario's movement, and also did a lot to expand the way you would move through the areas. A lot of these locations can only be navigated with the flood. That isn't to say that Mario is dependent on the flood. Some people say it's a crutch, but no, trust me, he can do it on his own. Mario Sunshine took one gimmick, which is gravity, and they took that one gimmick and stretched it out through a whole game, making it work, because they can do a lot with it. And it worked. I'm not gonna lie, this is amazing. This changed the way how levels were developed, and more importantly, it changed the way we move through those levels. I recommend Mario Galaxy to play it, very fun. And lastly, Super Mario 3D World is just adding co-op to Mario's 3D movement. There's not much to it because it's already refined to a T at this point, but it's amazing. It's a good game. And we can see how that naturally leads into Mario Odyssey. But we reach the goal, get the star, save the princess, with a heavy amount of our time spent platforming. But enough about Mario, this is a video about Zelda. And every Zelda, and I mean every Zelda, follows the same formula. Time, true, tested. Much like Mario, you have to save the princess. I'm not sure what's up with Nintendo and saving princesses, but we do that. It's a thing we do. Link gets through each of those games very much the same way, the same fashion. Start the game, go through the intro area, find the first dungeon, find an item in the first dungeon that helps you do the dungeon, and defeat said boss. After that, the game opens up. You usually got about 4 dungeons, talk to some people, get through those dungeons, and then you actually beat the boss of the game, which is mostly Ganon. Now how you get around Hyrule changes from game to game, right? The best example being Spirit Tracks, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and the end goal of all of that is to save the princess, mostly Zelda. And sometimes that changes. You have to wake up the Sky Whale. That was cool. So how does all of that I just said lead into Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom? At first look, it doesn't. Yes, every Zelda game has a moment when the world opens up to you completely, but again, the focus on those games are the dungeon. Wind Waker is the perfect example. No matter how cool sailing is, after a couple hours, you're sick of it. Because all the good parts, all the good bits of the game are in the dungeons. So what changed? Well, people would think that it was the focus on the world, but that ain't it. If Zelda, or the developers of Zelda, focus on the world of Hyrule, we get Skyward Sword and Majora's Mask. Yeah, quick side tangent, right? Nintendo, we need a complete remake of Majora's Mask. It's been long enough. I'm not talking about remaster, I'm talking about remake. The data is in. Remakes work, and you guys don't like to miss when it comes to your flagship titles. What are you doing? Remake this game completely, please. Can you imagine Majora's Mask, this new Zelda interaction? Oh my lord, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Thinking of the possibilities just hurt, you know? I gotta stop dreaming. Again, what changed? If it wasn't the focus on the world, it wasn't the focus on the dungeons, what changed to make Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild the way they are? Well, Link. And by extension, you, the player. That's what changed from the old to the new. Every Zelda game before Breath of the Wild played the same way because Link doesn't change. He didn't change much. Sure, he got some new toys, double grappling hook. It's still a grappling hook. But now, the sky is literally the limit. You see, for years, Nintendo was trying to make Zelda, The Legend of Zelda, more interesting. They changed the characters, they changed the setting, they changed the visuals, the gimmick, they even changed the time zone. But throughout those games, the one constant was how Link himself moved through the world and interacted with the world. So now that they put the focus on Link and by extension the player, we got the best 3D open world sandbox. The best of the best. Like Ubisoft wishes they can do this. Breath of the Wild, and by extension Tears of the Kingdom, is a evolution in the sense that the player themselves need to put the effort to expand their mastery over this game. No one can tell me this was hard. No, not a single person. This was just time consuming. And this was simple. I'm gonna simplify it here so I can get to Tears of the Kingdom a lot faster. Breath of the Wild was a really good open world sandbox, physics-based game. Remember that last part. Everything you do in this game revolves around surviving the outside world. People die a lot. I'm no different. You can see many failed compilations on YouTube. Link, and by extension the player, have so much freedom that naturally it's expected that the story and the world will take a backseat to it. The player has to set the path they take, no matter what or how long it takes, you will get there, or forget about it. I believe I made my point. This is a natural evolution of the Zelda Formula. But there are a few things that make this very successful. Just giving the tools to the player that allows him to affect the world isn't enough. Those tools must make sense for the game. They must have limits within the game. For example, in Sunset Overdrive, my favorite open world game ever made, You can grind basically on anything. This game was built with that in mind, from boss encounters to set pieces to just the world and how you get around. Look at the gameplay. It looks great. It looks fun. This is engaging. Now, if you can fly over the enemies and just shoot them down from the sky, that will undermine this. Right? You no longer have to try. You no longer have to be careful where you're going, where you're grinding, going up and down, trying to keep your momentum going. None of that matters because you can just shoot your enemies from afar, because you can just fly away, go to a different corner, and shoot them. So what are the tools that they gave you in Breath of the Wild? Well, we got the pause button, massively useful, one of the greatest things ever. Ice generation could be better. Magneto. And we got explosive in both circle and box shaped form. That alone was great. But then you add the survival systems and even the weather system. That's fantastic. Phenomenal even. I can get electrocuted by wearing metal. I will never make that mistake ever again. But remember when I said physics space? That's the secret sauce to Breath of the Wild, and by extension, Tears of the Kingdom. The amount of foolishness that will happen is because of the freedom you have and the tools you got, and the things that can happen on any given occasion. If it's hot outside and you don't have the right clothes, you die. That's amazing. Now look at what mastery over these complex web of systems look like. That was beautiful. And now in Tears of the Kingdom, the game has given you, or Nintendo has given you, the two most important changes, items, tools you will ever need. They're giving you a universal battery and a goddamn glue gun. And the things you can do are just amazing. Nintendo has given you a flawless interactive sandbox with a complex nature and overlapping system to ensure that you have something to do always. I didn't even get into the choruses or the shrines, and it's still a complete package. Personally, to me, this is no longer the Zelda games I grew in love. It's something new, something completely different. It is no surprise that thanks to Breath of the Wild, we got Genshin Impact, which led to Tower of Fantasy, and I would say 7 Deadly Sins, but I haven't seen anything about that yet. This formula that Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild share, this foundation, it's so good that it might as well be its complete and other own thing. Do not get me wrong. The Zelda monocle, the Zelda title, helped this formula of game become mainstream. If it wasn't for the title, Legend of Zelda, this game wouldn't be, or this formula, this format wouldn't be as big as it is today. So there is respect that has to be put on the Legend of Zelda. It's a very strong IP. And I haven't even talked about the story, because it's secondary to the player experience. And that's the line I was building up to with this whole video. Everything in the modern age Zelda is secondary to the player experience. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's a bit sad if you think about it. I know when I get in stories like Twilight Princess or Ocarina of Time or Triforce Heroes, this game is slept on in my personal eyes, but whatever. What I miss in, well, Tears of the Kingdom and everything else is that the story is happening to Links. In both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, everything happens before you wake up. this one section in Tears of the Kingdom is too short to count. Like, it really is. For me and many others, the many situations that the Links, yes, there's multiple Links, find themselves in are the most memorable moments of the whole Zelda franchise. And the many timelines, which are now one timeline. This is weird, but I'm not gonna lie, this was pretty cool. This whole section, I loved it. This is what I would like more in my Zelda games. In the new age Zelda games, you now have to seek the story through NPCs or cutscenes. I feel like the story felt more epic back then. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but seeing Link when he was young, that was amazing to me. And then this, oh my god. Damn, I missed this. There's just one cutscene, I mean there's several, but it's just one cutscene that perfectly encapsulates what I'm trying to share when it comes to the story and how I suffer. You can start watching the video now, it's like over in a couple minutes by the way. Look at the evil, look at the malice. And when the cutscene finishes, it just takes you out the moment. I'm not gonna harp about it. You should play this game. It's good, it's great, it's fantastic. Personally, I think this new direction for Zelda is the right call. I wish Nintendo will find a way to better weave narrative and gameplay together like they did before, but that's impossible given that the player has so much more agency. This is your story. This is how you go to Hyrule. And I do like it, right? Like I mentioned before, Tears of the Kingdom is a 10 out of 10 game easily. No one can argue that. This has been Definitely Not Bots. Thank you for watching. Please hit that like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.